Here's something different that I never talk about, and that's how YouTube changed my life and how it can actually do the same thing for you. I've had roughly 19 YouTube channels over the years, depending on my interests and where I was at in my life and what I was doing in business and a lot of different things. I started on YouTube around 2005, 2006, right when YouTube was starting, basically, before it was the go-to place to host videos and things like that. And I actually started on there. One reason was because my websites were exceeding their bandwidth limits because I was putting videos on websites, which at the time was a no-no. It took up too much bandwidth, and bandwidth was expensive. So you didn't have like unlimited bandwidth and things like that. The second thing was the creators, the people that created YouTube, was reaching out to the content creator community, which wasn't called a creator community at the time. Nobody was called an influencer. Asking, could somebody please like upload videos to this, because we want to see the capacity of it, we want to see how it works, we want to see if it's going to work, and we need to build up the users of this site. At that time, it was actually a dating site, but none of us that were asked to do that uploaded anything like a dating video. Like, I was already married. We were uploading videos about the things that we do and things that we teach, and we didn't vlog really. We uploaded things like our daily stuff that we teach or do, or businesses and stuff, right? But it was around 2015. It was 2 years, roughly 2 years after my dad passed away. I'd moved to my new farm, and I was kind of like away from any and all family except for like my wife and kids. All my friends left behind. I was starting a new track in business, but I didn't really know where I wanted to go with that. But most significantly, I was depressed. Now, I never owned to the thing that you have depression. I went more of the route like I was experiencing depression. I never believed it was something I had, right? But it was pretty severe. And one day I was out in the woods. I hunt and fish a lot and stuff. And I was out in the woods scouting for a hunting spot, and I just didn't feel like it, So I just got down, I made a little fire, did a little squirrel hunt, cooked some lunch, squirrel. And I just sat there like all day. As I went out, I took my notepad with me, like regular legal pad, because I'm a copywriter. And I was just writing, but I wasn't writing any kind of marketing copy or anything. I was writing story. I leaned my shotgun up against a tree, and I set up a hammock and a tarp, and I just laid down and read a book for like 3 hours straight. And my wife joked, "Oh, you go hunting every year, like every single day. Wouldn't it be something if you could get paid every time you walked into the woods?" And I'm like, challenge accepted. But I wasn't ready for the challenge yet. I was just kind of doing my thing. I needed to get outside more. My last house, my office was just surrounded by windows. A lot of sunlight came in. And in the wintertime, I'm not all that great when it comes to staying awake or staying energetic, seasonal affect disorder. So when I moved here, my office was in the basement, and there was no real windows and no real daylight. I didn't realize I was starting to kind of like sink into this thing. Now, keep in mind also, my lifelong best friend, 2 years before my dad, we spent every day together. We worked in cemeteries together. We went hunting together. We worked in a workshop together. Like, we were constantly working together. We were always with each other. And then all of a sudden, like, I don't have that person around anymore. 2019, after I was doing the One Foot in the Wild stuff for a little while, which I'm actually starting back up, I just didn't feel like doing anything. I just wanted to be outside all the time. I didn't feel like doing the business stuff and things like that. And I started recording videos again, and I got Lyme. I was sick. I mean, hallucinating sick. And then I realized, like, I don't really have a lot of things set to where if like something happened to me, my family could do a lot of, like, take care of certain things. So I started getting into that more often, like get the house secure and get the finances secure and all these different things. What have I done that impacted other people? I've done a lot of things, but there was nothing that really, like, what's this one thing I could continue to do that would impact a lot of people, like beyond my lifetime? I didn't have that thing. I always strive to have that life purpose thing, especially if I'm doing business or something like that. So 2019 comes around, the state of things in the world and stuff like that, and I decided to teach an emergency preparedness class. I used to do it all the time. I quit doing it. This time I'm going to teach it online to a small group of people, and I did. And it was like 2 months before the big 2020 thing. I'm glad I did these things. But what happened as a result of February 2020, I had already stocked up. I mean, mainly because I was doing the Prepping 101 stuff. I had stocked up, you know, the pantries and certain things that I knew that we were without. And I shored up some things, some resources that I believe we should have. And I'd already started like cultivating the space for the garden and fencing everything in and building the greenhouse and building the chicken coop, and already started clearing the space for an apiary and stuff. And I didn't know what all that was really going to be for other than just my family stuff. So I decided to start like posting some of those images online and recording a couple videos here and there while I was doing certain things. And once again, posting to YouTube. I always come back home to YouTube. I love it. But something happened in February 2020. Something happened with me. The depression went away. And then I started recording more videos. They're not the greatest I've ever done, that's for sure. They're not the highest viewed I've ever had. But the process for me was therapeutic. And I got back into wanting to tell people things. And I got back into wanting to explore new opportunities and do new things and get back into the woods and work with my hands. Because after my dad died, I have to admit, I stepped away from a lot of that stuff for a long time. But once that depression kind of went away, and when I say went away, I mean, I'm ready to roll, man. I got things I want to do. I started thinking about what could I do with One Foot in the Wild that would make it better for people? Well, I stopped and I'm like, that was my therapy, right? I was using YouTube and One Foot in the Wild as my own personal therapy. I didn't realize it at the time, but that's what it was. And it was changing my life. I wanted to do something that could potentially change other people's lives. And I figured, well, okay, what am I doing mostly? I'm doing a lot of video stuff all the time. I'm doing a lot of writing, and I'm doing Boy Scouts with my son all the time. And I made my own camp in the woods on my property. And that's when it kind of clicked. I'm like, I want to do something bigger. And after conversations with a lot of people and a lot of different things, I decided to create the new Woodcraft League of America. And let me tell you, from that point forward, I got busy. Real busy, because I thought I was just going to create this online thing that was just going to be some lessons, like a course or something, right? Then people started asking me to create like an organization where they could have lodges and tribes and all these other different things. Then these huge like organizations like churches and stuff are saying, hey, could you create something that we could replace this other program with that we used to be part of? I think you guys mostly know what that was. And so I started creating something bigger, and now it's so big and such a grand idea and so fulfilling that I can't think of a day that goes by that I don't think of or do something with the Woodcraft League and with YouTube stuff. Like right now, currently, I'm teaching a group of people how to do some storytelling stuff, right? Maybe you're one of those people. But I have to say that when I talk to a lot of people about the YouTube part of things, they're like, oh, you do it so you can make a ton of money. Nah, I can make a YouTube channel make money. I can make it grow fairly rapidly. I can push it hard. There's a lot of things I can do that I know how to do as a marketer and as a content creator to do these things. I've been at it for a long time. I like to do YouTube because I enjoy it, because I have interests and things that I professionally do, and I like to share those things. I've always loved to teach. I've always loved camping. I've always loved stoicism. I've always loved personal development. And I like to explore those things, and I like to share the conclusions I've come to with other people, and hopefully they can apply that too. So it's fulfilling for me. The Woodcraft League is fulfilling for me because the plan that we have in place, it'll live beyond me. It'll live well beyond my years. Not to mention, it's a legacy for my children and for the children and families of the entire United States. And I love that. But I have to ask a lot of people, and I'll ask you, when you do YouTube or you create content, what change is that making in your life? Because I got to tell you, with the things that I do in my life, every single time I do something, I ask myself, how will this change me? And if the answer is like, it won't, I don't really want to do it. So I just ask you, if you could comment below, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, comment below and tell me, how does exploring new possibilities and doing new things in your life change you? What are some things that you've realized is kind of like your purpose going forward that you really want to achieve? Share that below with us. And if you can, please subscribe to the video channel because I'd really appreciate that. I'd like to grow this a bit. And we get some new content coming up really soon. Thanks for watching. Take care.